Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm making up a follow-up video for my previous one, which was all about a 3-step process you can use to quit any bad habit. But today I wanted to talk about more about the psychology behind bad habits and some different things we can do to kind of tackle that side of things. Because if we don't really have the kind of will or strength to actually go ahead and quit these bad habits because we've got certain psychological blocks like depression and anxiety and things like that in the way, it can make it really hard to actually quit these bad habits, or at least that's what I found when I was struggling with a lot of different bad habits which I wanted to quit. So for the psychology of bad habits, how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis has a massive impact on how easy or difficult it is to actually quit addiction or bad habit. So for example, if you're someone who is really depressed and you don't really have much of a, what I like to call a North Star or like a purpose in life, or you're kind of not sure what that sort of thing is for you, it makes it a lot harder to quit any sort of bad habit. So for those of you who are trying to quit a bad habit and you're kind of struggling with all these kind of other psychological things which are going on, I want you to first of all have a little bit more grace and be a little bit more gentle with yourself when you're trying to quit bad habits. Because the unfortunate thing is, when you are depressed and you're struggling in your head, if you kind of are unable to do something, or if you feel like you've kind of failed at something, you're even more hard on yourself than you would be if you were feeling a lot more stable or grounded mentally. So again, please just be very gentle with yourself. You're someone who's going through a time right now. If you're trying to quit a bad habit and you're going through a time right now where you're feeling very depressed and anxious, then just give yourself a little bit more grace, because you deserve it, right? You're trying to make a positive change for yourself. So please don't feel too down about being unable to quit something which is being fundamentally designed to keep you stuck, right? Because unfortunately, these bad habits, they're designed to keep you hooked. They're designed to make it hard to quit because, well, it's deeply rooted in our physiology to get addicted and hooked on things, especially when we're feeling down. So I just want to try and encourage you to, of course, be more gentle with yourself, as I was saying. But also, when you're quitting these bad habits, don't underestimate the benefit of just working on the kind of root cause behind how you're feeling, because that's probably going to be 90% of what you need to actually quit these bad habits. And it's true that quitting the bad habits themselves can also help you resolve some of these depressive issues too. So if you're someone who feels like it's totally hopeless for being able to get out of this kind of hole you're in, I just want to encourage you that by quitting these bad habits, if you persevere with it, on the other side, you're going to start feeling a lot better. Because, of course, there usually always is a root cause behind why we're feeling depressed. For me, it was kind of a lack of purpose and like why the hell have I been born? What am I here to do? And this was kind of a question that probably started pondering in my head when I was around 14 or 15. I've always been quite an introverted individual, and I was very rooted in my own kind of head and my own kind of thinking, and I just didn't understand why I existed. And that was kind of the start of a downward spiral, and it led to me eventually falling into a lot of kind of really bad habits and really bad thought patterns and things like that. And I ended up developing depression and anxiety for a time as well, which was a really difficult hole to climb out of during that time. But of course, it is very possible to do. You can do it. It's just, it's not a fun place to be. If you're someone who's going through something, obviously I have no idea what you're going through, but I just want you to know that as someone who was struggling with depression and things like that, I did manage to get out of it. So I believe that anyone is able to get out of the hole they're stuck in at the moment. So yeah, I just want, if you're struggling to quit these bad habits and you're struggling with depression or anything, or just feeling down in general, or feeling like you're dealing with a lot of stress, then please don't underestimate the power of looking into the kind of root cause behind how you're feeling. So for me, it was just trying to figure out what my purpose was, and really just taking time to sit and cut out any distractions and just sit alone with my kind of thoughts and try and figure it out. Or I say alone with my thoughts, but really what actually helped was taking some pen and paper and writing things out and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, what I enjoyed doing, and what would make me feel fulfilled. Because I think having things you enjoy was one aspect of it, because when you do things you enjoy, you tend to just feel a lot better generally. It doesn't really, all these kind of existential questions matter a lot less when you're having fun. But it's true there was a part of me which needed reason. I needed reason for why I wanted to, you know, go on and work hard and do my best at things. So be kind to yourself and give yourself that time to sit and really think about what you want to do, what things you care about. Maybe you care about helping a lot of people. Maybe that's something that you're called to do, but it's kind of a calling which you haven't been able to really fulfill, because we're kind of diving a little bit off topic into kind of maybe more spiritual topics, but I do believe that everyone has a kind of calling in life, something that they've been kind of born to do. And so I had to kind of figure out what my calling was, which is, well, it's quite a lot of different things, but I suppose one aspect is I wanted to help a lot of people. And I also wanted to bring a lot of joy in particular into people's lives, which is why for my business I ended up pursuing teaching Japanese, because learning Japanese was something that brought me a lot of joy. So I wanted to help other people experience that joy of learning Japanese, especially because I learned a lot of really fun techniques, like learning Japanese using fun memory techniques and things like that. And I felt that by doing that, that made the process even more fun. So I wanted to share that kind of unique thing, which I feel like wasn't talked about a lot in the Japanese learning community, to help more people have fun when learning Japanese. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked there, but essentially, you know, I had to try find out what my calling is, and that's one aspect of my calling. And you might find that it starts off as one thing and ends up developing the more you pursue it. So yeah, just if you're struggling to quit these bad habits, take some time for yourself, sit with some pen and paper, and try and find out what your calling is. And that can be a really challenging thing to do. So again, feel free to find community, find people to talk to and ask if you want. And I understand, to be honest, when I was really depressed, again, like I said, I was really introverted, I probably would have been like, oh, screw that, I don't want to do that. So if you're doing it on your own, just take some time to write out the things that are important to you, what things you would like to do, what would be a version of yourself that you could be proud to be, and start looking at what that person would look like, and then start taking action towards becoming that person. And again, I know I say take action, I know it can be really hard if you're when you're not feeling so great to actually take action. So taking action doesn't have to be something that's forced, it doesn't have to be something that's really hard and difficult. It can just be doing something you enjoy. So for me, when I was really depressed and, you know, I was really struggling to quit bad habits and things like that, I kind of just pushed it all aside, and I just done something that I felt called and that I enjoyed to do. So I started learning Japanese again, and that started a positive feedback loop, and my mood started to improve, and it meant that I was able to give some more attention to quitting some of these bad habits, which I knew were also causing me misery, but I couldn't quit because I was too miserable to quit them. So yeah, I'm sorry this video has been a little bit unstructured. It's been a little bit of a ramble, and also a little bit of a talk on some personal experiences as well, but I hope it reaches the right person and hopefully helps you get through whatever you're struggling with, so you can start quitting these bad habits, because bad habits get us stuck in a negative feedback loop. You're feeling miserable, so you engage in a bad habit to try and feel better, and you think it's going to make you feel better, but it never does. And then you're even more miserable, and then it's even harder to quit the bad habit, because not only is it kind of reinforcing the kind of addiction cycles in your kind of physiologic, not only is it like reinforcing those addiction cycles physiologically, but you're also just feeling bad about the fact that you weren't able to quit that bad habit, or that you relapsed back into it again, or you engaged in it or whatnot. So yeah, just be kind to yourself, and I think joy is always the answer. So try and find some things that you enjoy doing, and just set out some time for yourself to say, look, you know, I might not respect myself, or I might not love myself, but I'm just going to do this thing anyway, you know. And I know that can be really hard to do, but if you do have the strength to do it, I promise you it can set you on a path to healing. So yeah, I hope you found that video useful. I'm sorry I got a little bit kind of more deep and personal, but I think it's an important topic to talk about. So I hope you found it useful. If you are looking for a community of other people who are kind of working on their health and just trying to bring more joy and happiness and health into their lives, then feel free to check out our free non-profit school community in the top link in my description. The school community is just an online place where people gather and share ideas, ask questions, and we also have, you know, course content and things like that as well. Well, say course content, it's just me rambling about, you know, experiences I've had, and well, also, to be honest, more practical stuff that you can do to start improving your health. and bringing more happiness into your life by pursuing your passions. So if that sounds interesting to you, please feel free to check that out. It's just the top link in this description of this video. If you're not sure what it is, just go ahead and join and give it a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So yeah, apart from that, hope you all have a lovely rest of your day or night. And if you think anyone else will find this useful, please feel free to share. You really be helping the mission out a lot. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day or night. Catch you later.